Okay folks, here we are. We're going to do a bit of 9-ball Scotch doubles. There's quite a few in. Let's have a look at the bracket. And let's just update the refresh. Right, we can see we've got 3, 4, many we get in? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got 7 teams in, so it's a full tourney, more or less, and it's a race to 7 on the winner's side, race to 5 on the loser's side. We've got the favourites for the tournament in a match, and that's the match we're going to look, because they're giving 5 and out to Hoon and Vieren, I think that's his name. So we're going to get in and watch that match. Where is it? There it is there. And we're already in the first rack. So Frankel and Bill are the strong favourites, but if they make a mistake, they could pay the price. If these guys can get their act together. Now we're well into the money ball stage, 5 and out, so any mistakes made here, Vieren and Hoon could jump on it. All they need to do is sink one of these balls and they win the rack. Now I'm going to do a quick check and see where these guys are from. Hoon is from the States, Vieren is from Croatia. Frankel, we're not sure where he's from. He's got a US flag, and Bill we know is from the States. So here's the important one for Frankel. He needs to get back up the table. It looks as if he's going for the draw. Bill's giving advice saying he's going to shoot long. He's played a good shot to get the cue ball right up there for the 9. So 1-0 to the favourites. And we won't be doing all of this tournament because this is a working week, and it's just going to be like Friday night 9-ball. Have to pull the plug at 10:30, got to get to bed, but hopefully we'll see a couple of matches. So 1-0 to Bill and Frankel. Break off and dry break. Now I say this every time, these guys that are getting a handicap, they really need to play a bit wisely and watch the type of shots that they're taking, because you know, if they don't, they're just going to get walked over here. And all the balls are in the open, and really Hoon and his partner are just relying on Frankel and Bill making a mistake. That's really more than likely where they're going to get a rack or two, but they won't get any if they don't actually play with a bit more thought. Well, looking at the 4-ball, it looks as if Frankel's going to try and come across. Now for some reason he's shown a house cue. Maybe I just haven't downloaded his cue. Well, that almost went wrong there. Bill's still got a shot in the 4, but he's not looking down the line of the 4, so he's going to probably play it in off the 8-ball, because that makes the pocket much bigger. Now this is it's a bit straighter than he would really like. He would like maybe a wee bit more angle, so he's going to have to force this a bit to get the cue ball, unless he can just squeeze past the 7 and take it into the pocket where the 9 ball is. And he's played it well. And just checking the stream looks pretty good. It's settled down. So already it's looking very likely it's going to be 2-0. But like I say, it depends how much thought these two guys put into their game. You know, this all came about from a sort of lash out at the 1 ball and probably trying to hit and hope they would knock something in, but you know, that didn't happen, and in the end Bill and Frankel have just run the table. And that's what you'd expect with two high rated players. And Bill's just made his excuses, shall we say. He'll be back in a second. While we're waiting there, let's have a look and see if we've got any match scores coming through. Well, we can see Larry and Tommy are the ones that are getting the bye, so they're waiting to play the winner of the Z Karaoke Wink At Me match, who is playing DJ Redo and Hazard. And Hazard and DJ Redo are getting a 6 ball, and they're already up 1-0. And in the bottom match, Lady Hawk and VKL are getting a 5 ball, and they're playing Popman and Daily Hustle. And Lady Hawk and VKL are up 1-0 in that one. So back to the match. Bill, I don't think he's back yet. But Frankel, now what happened there? If Frankel's broke off, unless we must have missed a couple of shots, because there's no ball going down on the break, so clearly Vieira and Arjun have missed a shot, and it's a bit like deja vu from the second rack. The balls are all in the open, and the bathroom must be quite a long way away for Bill. Oh, he's back now. Now, has he gone far enough? No, he hasn't, I don't think. Yes, he has. He can just see enough of that to pot it. Plenty of room to get on the 3 ball. He just needs to hit this with enough pace so that he doesn't drop in behind any of these balls in the middle of the table. Bill needs to leave Frankel a decent angle. Let's have a look at what he's got here. Well, that's a bit straight, but he can actually use, there's a slight angle there, he can stun up and he can draw back. Now what I'm going to do after this rack is I'm going to leave the room and come back in and see if I can see Frankel's cue, because I'm sure he's got a playing cue. That's unless he's chosen to play with a house cue, but he wouldn't be able to hit the shots as hard if he was using a house cue. There's not very much power in a house cue at all. So this is Frankel and Bill giving these two guys a lesson here. You just cannot give them anything easy to start. If you do, they're too good. They're going to move that cue ball and run the table, and this looks like another one. So just a straight 9 ball for 3-0. Right, so I'm just going to do a quick exit and jump back in. Right, let's see if we can see his cue this time. We'll put that down as a safety shot because he didn't play any great position for the 2. Frankel might go for the bank. There's no pressure on Bill and Frankel at the moment, and so they'll feel free to do pretty much what they want unless they start making a mistake and losing racks because of it. But there doesn't seem to be much sign of that, so here's a chance for Hoon. A poor safety there by Frankel. Now he just needs to hit enough power in this to get the cue ball off that left rail and back out. And he's done that. Let's just check where little Doodle's working. Yep. We're working okay. Now this is where they're hoping to get lucky for position because he hit that far too hard. And now he's got no angle to get his partner back up for the 4. Now a reminder for people who've not seen Scotch doubles, you'll get 2 players against 2 players, and the Scotch doubles part of it means that players on the team each play alternate shots. So on a visit to the table, the first player pots the 1 ball, he gets his partner on the 2 ball, and so on, and the shots just change turn. So the pressure's on your partner getting you on the next ball. These balls are still sitting very well, so it's looking a bit grim here for Vieran and Hoon. Yeah, Frankel saying he's forgot about the house cue deflection, so I don't know why he's not. In fact, let's just have a look. Let's have a look at his profile. Well, there's all the cues that he has. So he's got 2 playing cues and jump cue, and he's got the different shafts. So why he's not using them, I don't know, unless he's got a problem with his game. Right, back to the bracket. We'll get that up on the screen. And I haven't noticed yet whether he's playing with his playing cue now. Who's breaking? Ah, there, that's his break cue. Well, here's a chance, albeit a slim one. It's a dry break, and Vieran has a shot in the 1. But look where the 6 ball is. 6 ball hanging right over the pocket. Now he could try and run the cue ball into the 6. Well, he's had a slash at that again. Well, the 6 ball won't be there long because that's going to be taken care of with this 1 ball. So this is another rack that's looking very likely to go the same direction. Vieran just having a bang at the 1 ball. And that is not the wise way to play these guys. Has he got there? Not only hasn't quite, but I'll just remind these guys. Well, that was a bit fortunate because that cue ball was going nowhere near the 4. But here we go. Hoon has got his partner on the 5, and well, provided there isn't a disaster here, they're off and running. So they've got 1 rack on the board. Now, I was told the other day on one of my streams that whenever I mute my mic, there's a click, and I can hear it through my headset, and there's nothing I can do about it. I mean, other than just cough and let you hear it all. It is a bit annoying, I must admit, but as I say, there's nothing else I can do. Now that was Frankel at the table there, and I never even thought to look at what cue he's playing with. Let's have a look at the stream. I think that still looks like a house cue. I've got to be careful with the pace of this 4 ball, because if he hits it into the rail and then the 8 with too much pace, the 4 ball would go to the top rail. But he's actually played it well, and just going to leave Bill the cross table shot into that right middle by the looks of it. Don't think there's an awful lot he can do. Well, Bill went for the bank, got the double bank, and has left Frankel awkward on the 6. Now what does he do? Does he play the cut? Does he play the bank? It looks as if he's playing the cut. It's hard to judge, but I think it's the cut that he's playing. And that's a very good shot. Got Bill on the 7. Well, it looks very likely it's going to be 5-1. Now at the end of the rack, the players can actually swap who is going to break, and that's what they've actually done there. You'll notice in the top of the HUD it says partner change turn or something like that. I think that was the message. And the 3 ball has gone. And the 1 just scrapes off the 7. Still finds a pocket. And Franco can stun this 2 ball in and miss the 6, or he can just drop down onto the bottom rail and back up. That's what he's doing. Had 2 choices in what he wanted to do there, and Bill will just draw this, draw to the rail and out a bit. Doesn't want to leave it straight. Well, he's decided to go round the corner, but he's left it short, and this is leaving Franco to do more work, and this is where things can go slightly wrong. You want to try and leave your partner as little to do to get you on the next ball. Franco does the job. But I think that Bill and Franco are certainly going to be pushed a lot harder in any of the other matches. If they do get through this match, they'll certainly have they'll meet up with a team who will have a little bit more experience and be able to take advantage of the handicap. Because it's pretty likely that Bill and Franco will be given a handicap to pretty much every team in this tournament. So Franco just needs to roll the 9 in for 6-1. Well, there's a mistake. And there's another rack going to go to Hoon and Vieran. Once again, you don't want to be putting top in that cue ball. You want to get a bit of draw on it. I don't like the way he's queued up at this cue ball here. Well, he had the angle on it. So anyway, the mistake was made and it's 5-2. So, you never know. Stranger things have happened in these tournaments, especially with the handicap. Another dry break. This time it's Bill as a slash at the 1 and he flicks it. And he gets his partner on the 2 ball as well. Well, there's the area to be playing that 3 ball. In actual fact, the best angle would be there, but that would be then taking a high risk of blocking the 3 ball with the 4. So the least angle you can get in a 3, the easier it is to get on the 4. And that's why he's trying to roll it as close as he can. So he's found a gap in between the 2 red lines. And now Bill has got a bit more angle than he'd want to work with. So it looks as if he's going to try and come across and leave Franco the 4 into the middle. And that draw has pushed the 3 offline and it's hung up. Still looks very difficult for Hoon and his partner to win this rack, considering where the 5 ball is. But in the same time, Bill and Franco have got work to do to get that 5 ball. Here's a perfect opportunity for Hoon to use a bit of common sense and try and play a decent safety here without lashing at the 5. Unless he's just going to bang and hope here. But a good safety is what they want. And he's not done it. If only they'd listen. Now, there is a perfect line there for Franco to roll the 5 in and get the cue ball right down into the bottom rail. Okay, he's got a little bit of a cutback, but at least Bill can get the 6. The problem though is getting the 7. And the angle would mean the cue ball was going to come down here. Bill's drawn it the other way and he's left Franco with more to do again. And it was Franco that missed the 9 ball in the last rack. The pressure's on him here. And this time he gets the job done. So Bill and Franco have made 2 mistakes in this match, and the 2 mistakes have cost them the racks. We've not seen much in the way of the threat of a comeback from Huner Vieran. Much less experience than Bill and Frankel at this game. But this is where the handicap can work for you if you use your head. I keep saying it, but there's plenty of players and teams that I watch where they don't think at all. An easy kick shot in this 1 ball. Now, what he tried there was to actually kick it at a reasonable pace so that he might actually use those balls as blocking balls, but he actually hit the 1 ball into the 5. That's why he played it at a slower pace. So ball in hand for Hoon. Now, I don't know what he's doing here, honestly. I mean, why is he lining the 1 ball up this way? He's trying to play a 1-5 combo. I mean, what about the 3-7 combo? That looked a lot easier. All he needed to do was to pot the 1, get his partner on the 2, and his partner leave him in the 3-7. Bill's going to scratch. Well, is there a possibility of a 3-8-6 combo here? It doesn't look on. But this is where Vieira, it might be worthwhile having a bang at this. A good old smack and see what happens. Now he's thinking safety, but he's hit the 7. And I don't think there's a lot of value in potting the 3 or trying to cut it. Probably better just looking to punt it up the table and leave the cue ball awkward here. The 6 ball's not in a potable position. He's waiting for the pot. That's going to hang up. Now, if Bill could get the cue ball somewhere about there, for Frankel to pot the 5, and he could run the cue ball through to split these two. That's going to be way short. Oh no, it's Vieira that's at the table. I'm losing track here. Well, that's got the split. It's made the 7 slightly awkward, but it's open. There's no problem in potting it. So we're at 6-2, and this is Frankel and Bill's chance to run out the match here. Of course, it's double elimination, so Vieira and Hoon will move over to the one loss side, or they look very likely to. And Bill will probably just kill the cue ball stone dead. Well, Frankel is going to have to try and just pinch a bit of an angle here, just to let the cue ball run around. He's left it a wee bit short, but it looks simple enough for Bill just to pot it and get the cue ball up the top half of the table for that 9 into the right middle. Well, there you go. As I say, stranger things happen. Now, who needs to look at this 8 ball where it is in the pocket? Needs to be careful. So there's another rack gone. And it's not over yet. 3 mistakes, 3 racks. Try break from Vieira and an open table. And another mistake. This time they've got away with it. And Hoon can't get to this 1 ball. There's no way he can get to it. The 9 is too close to get to that anyway off that side rail on the left hand side. You can't get it from the right hand side, so now you've got to maybe try and tie a couple of balls up here. And this is another point about using your head. And all he's done is freed up the 9 ball and given ball in hand. When you're in that situation where it's impossible to hit the 1 ball, you've got to look at running an object ball into another ball and tying them up and just giving them ball in hand. But no thought about that at all. You've got to use the option of the deliberate foul in this game, because it can work to your advantage in a desperate situation, and it might have helped them there. Now, as it is, it's another chance for Frankel and Bill to get this match over. It looks all too easy. The only issue I can see is getting from the 5 nicely on the 6. That 8 and 9 ball are just in an awkward place. The 7 ball's in an awkward place as well if you go down the right hand side of the table, because you're just hoping you don't block yourself off here. And Bill's managed to avoid that. I think that's a bit straight again. Well, I think he'll probably leave the 7 ball long. I would think Les is going to force this through. He force it forward, and it's one of those nasty cutbacks again for Bill. So here could be a chance for Hoon and Vieira. You never know. And it goes. It's likewise for Frankel. It's a little bit awkward. It's slightly into a blind pocket. He should have the cue ball on the 9 ball though, provided he doesn't scratch into the right middle pocket, but let's see. Well, yes, he is playing with the house cue. Well, honestly can't see Bill missing this one, so this match is now over. Bill and Frankel win the match by 7 racks to 3. And they move on to the next round. So that's the first result that's come through. Let's see how the other matches are doing. So there's Bill there waiting on the winner of Z Karaoke and Wink at Me against DJ Redo and Hazard, who are getting the 5 or the 6 ball. And Larry and Tommy U are waiting on the winner of that match. Lady Hawk and VKL are up 4-3 against Popman and Daily Hustle. Now I would put them down as a stronger team, but it looks as if the handicap's caught them once or twice. Anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to jump into this match. We've got Wink at Me and Z Karaoke currently at 6-5. DJ Redo has a slash at the 1. And Team 2, Hazard and DJ Redo, are getting the 6 ball as the extra money ball. Let's have a look and see where everybody's from. Hazard is from the UK, Z Karaoke Brazil, DJ Redo is from Germany, and Wink at Me's from Canada. And Z Karaoke is going to have to dig out the jump stick. Need to watch he doesn't follow through. He's avoided that, but he's left his partner an extremely thin cut in the 4. He's held it well, gone a little bit farther than he would like. And I think it is possible for Z Karaoke to play a sort of draggy shot to kill the pace in the cue ball. Well, he's tried that and he actually did it. He done it quite well. He held it nice, but he's missed the 5. So here's a chance for Hazard and DJ Redo. They won't get a better one than this. They need this 5 ball and get the cue ball up the table. Well, he's gone to probably about the worst position he could put the cue ball for his partner, because he's got a, well, does the 6 cut at that angle into the middle. I think an extremely thin shot and a danger of a scratch if he tries it. And it doesn't cheat the pocket going down this rail, so I don't see any other option here to try and thin this, but he's not playing it. He's trying the safety. He's hit it too hard, and that might be the last shot. Far too heavy. Try to run the 6 ball onto this bottom rail and use that 7 as a blocker, but get too much weight into it. Well, this might have gone wrong. Hang on a minute, it's not over yet, folks. Well, Z Karaoke has been stitched up there by Wink at Me. Another 2 inches and that would have been perfect. He would have been able to roll the 7 in and just drop behind the 8. So he's went for the old kick and hope. Where's the 7 going to finish? Well, it is a pretty straight shot for Hazard, but their extra money ball has gone. The 6 ball is already in the hole, so they have to get these last 3 balls now. And I think that's finished straight as well. Well, DJ Redo, he needs to watch the draw. If he plays this a plain draw shot, there's a danger of going into that middle pocket, and he's actually just, well, he's sort of chickened out there. He hasn't come back far enough. So the pressure's on Hazard with this 9 ball, and in it goes, no messing about. We're tied up 6-all, final rack decider. DJ Redo to break. So the winner of this match is going to be playing Frankel and Mr. Bill in the next round. And the 5 ball has gone. Hazard has a shot in the 1. Now, how can he play this and leave his partner a shot in the 2-9? Not with this angle he can't. He's going to probably hit the 2 ball maybe. Yeah, it's gone safe. That was always the problem. He couldn't avoid hitting the 2. Now, how's this 2-6 set up? Well, that looks a combo. Well, this could be a turn up for the books. No, I don't think it's quite set. No, he's pushed it. There was a glimmer of hope there for the combo. So all the pressure's on Wink at Me and Z Karaoke, because again, they are the favourites, the much higher rated players. And of course, the other important thing is the 6 ball is still in the table. Well, there is the mistake. Now, can Hazard get this 2 in the hole and get his partner a shot in the 3? Well, he's used the 8 to hold. That was a good shot. And DJ Redo needs to, well, probably run through, to be honest with you. Might not be a great idea to draw it. He's run through, and another nudge in the 7. Well, it's left it awkward. But the 4 still pots. But once again, the scratch is imminent here. Got to be careful with that scratch into that top pocket in the right hand side as we look. And he's tried to draw it. I think he's actually banked it. I don't think he played that, but it doesn't matter, it's in the hole. So this for the match. And it goes. DJ Redo and Hazard have sent the second favourite team over to the 1 loss side. They win the match by 7 racks to 6. Now DJ Redo and Hazard, excuse me, they look to have a little bit more thought between them in their shots. So they're going to be playing Bill and Frankel next, and they're going to be getting a hefty handicap, and it'll be interesting to see how that match goes. They're actually getting a 7 and out against Bill and Frankel, and meanwhile Larry and Tommy, you are still sitting there waiting on a result from that first round match. Lady Hawk and VKL are currently 5-4 up. No, it's now gone to 5-all with Popman and Daily Hustle. Excuse me. Well, let's have a quick jump in and see what's happening in that match. So Team 1 are getting the 5 ball as the extra money ball. Lady Hawk's been stuck behind the 7. And just a kick and hope on the 2. And that's not a bad kick. It's not quite gone safe, but a good attempt. Oh dear, what's Potman done here? Well, one big mistake is he's not hit a rail, so it's ball in hand to VKL. Now, I was wondering whether he knew that. So just a little stop here on the 2. Well, he's played that all wrong. That's poor. Not doing his partner any favours here, I'm afraid. So we're seeing a lot of... it's very easy to be critical of people, but we're seeing a lot of inexperience, a lot of players who don't get to play a lot. And it's unfair to be too critical on them. I mean, a lot of players that don't put as much effort into this game as what some of these other guys we're seeing do, so you know, they're just hoping to get a break. Pressure's all on Potman and Daily Hustle. There's no pressure on Lady Hawk and VKL. They've just got to hope they get a run of the ball somewhere. Well, they're still in it. It's 5-all. Any mistake could be costly, but Daily Hustle can certainly get rid of this early extra money ball here, the 5-ball, once it goes. That then puts the pressure back on VKL and Lady Hawk if they get a chance. It looks simple enough here though. Just leave that 7-ball into the left middle, drop onto the 8, kill the cue ball for a shot in the 9 into the top right. It doesn't look anything difficult. Now, what Potman doesn't want to do when he gets this 8-ball is actually leave it too square on the 9. He needs to come back a couple of inches. Not a big draw, just enough power to get it back 2 or 3 inches. Well, that's not bad. It's come back and out. Makes it much simpler for potting the 9. So Daily Hustle and Potman are on the hill, leading 6-5. Potman breaking off in the 12th rack. That 8-ball's going to go, and I think the 7 will go as well. No, it's just going to hang up. Now Daily Hustle, meanwhile, is going to have to dig the jump stick out, I think. Try and knock the 1 in. He won't be able to get his partner on the 2 because there's too much distance here and you won't have enough pace in the cue ball. Cue ball won't travel a great deal, I don't think. Oh, that's unlucky. Well, same problem for Potman, out with the jump stick. Might get lucky behind the 4 and 9. Well, he's hit it thinnish. If he'd hit it fuller, he might have been able to snooker Lady Hawk and VKL. Now I think, oh, I didn't even get a chance to look at how much of that 2-ball was shown there. But now it's in the open, and this is a chance for Daily Hustle and Potman to put this match to bed. Get it over and done with. Here's the first problem, getting from the 3 onto that 4. Now the angle he's got, he could play this with right hand English, the cue ball off the rail and get the cue ball down that side, but it's a narrow window to get on the 4. That's what he's tried, and the obvious mistake is going too far. But if he goes far enough, he could leave it on into the middle and leave his partner a long 5-7 combo. He hit that far too hard. He should have looked at where the 5 was and left the 5-7. Well, this time it's going to be a 4-7 combo, and it should be just rolled in dead weight to leave the 4 ball where the 7 is if we can. And he didn't get there at all. Well, it's back to VKL. Now can he, I don't know whether it is a he or a she, tried the billiard there, missed that, and the 4's been left on. Oh dear, don't know what Daily Hustle was trying there. Well, Lady Hawk and VKL, you're not going to get as many chances as this surely to tie the match up. Just need the 4 ball and then the 5. Lady Hawk has done her best to hold the gap, and she has done, and that's actually a good guide, that 6 ball for VKL. I think he's aiming too straight at that, is he? No, he's got it. So we're on to a final rack decider in this one. Lady Hawk is going to be breaking off in the 13th and final rack. Now, a couple of balls are in, but one of them was the cue ball, unfortunately. So ball in hand for Popman. And straight away he's got to get that cue ball up there for the 2. Well, they're making far too many mistakes. That's another rattler hanging over the pocket. This looks good. Is it going to nudge the 9 in? Oh. But it's nicely on the 2. And Lady Hawk's got plenty of room. Big gap between the 5 and 6 to get her partner on that 3 ball. That was not the shot to play, I'm afraid. There was a big window in the middle of the table, and look, she's put it in the worst place she could. And where's the cue ball going to end up? Well, it's now wide open. So surely Daily Hustle and Popman can put this match away this time. How many chances are they going to need? And how many mistakes can they make between now and getting the 9 ball? Well, whatever you do, don't finish behind the 6 ball. There's a huge area to manoeuvre this cue ball into to leave Daily Hustle on the 5. And he's got there. We'll have a little change, brighten things up a bit. This is not an ideal position in the 6, it has to be said. Not easy. He's got the cut, he's got his partner on the 9. And Daily Hustle should be able to knock this in without much trouble. So Daily Hustle and Potman win the match by 7 racks to 6. That's 2 matches, 2 that have gone all the way. So now we will button. We will have a look at the bracket. We can see that Frankel and Bill are currently up by 3 racks to 1. Larry and Tommy Yu are going to be playing Potman and Daily Hustle, and that's the match we're going to watch. So at the moment there is no one in that room from what I can see. Larry's just come out of his practice room, I think. There's one in. So Potman and Daily Hustle might be taking a bathroom break. That's 3 players in, the 4 are in now, they should be lagging off. Well, Larry's won the lag. Now this time, Potman and Daily Hustle are the ones that are getting the handicap. They're getting 7 and out, and they're certainly good enough to make the most of that. Let's have a look at where these guys are from. Well, we know Larry's from the States, Potman is from England, Daily Hustle from the States, and I think Tommy's from Germany. Yeah, Tommy used German. And straight away Potman's got a problem. He can't jump the 7 to get to the 1. I don't think, far too big a distance here. You're going to have to kick at it. Oh, that's a great effort. Almost potted it and it's gone safe. I'll take that any day. Well, I say it's gone safe. Larry's looking as if he's going to line up the cut here. No, he's just playing safe. He beat me to it. That's not bad. How's Tommy with the jump stick? Now, it's pretty certain that if he pots this 1 with a jump cue, that his partner's going to have a shot in the 2. He's missed it. Now here is Potman and Daily Hustle's chance. They're more than good enough to clear these balls, and they only need to clear up to the 7 ball, and the 7 ball's the problem. It is very tight past that 9 ball, but I think you can certainly cheat it past the 9 and off the rail in the jaw. But if you look at the shot that he's got here, if Potman can somehow get his partner back onto that 4, it could end up playing the 7 ball down this left rail into the same pocket that the 3 ball's going into. Now, he won't be doing it with this distance. So Daily Hustle needs to pot the 4. Now, ideally you have to play this with inside English, with left English to bring the cue ball back this way. He's almost got there. He's left it at distance, but Potman just has to squeeze this past the 9. Plenty of room to get it past there, but it's got to be a gentle enough pace so that the pocket will take it. And he's done it. So there we go. The first rack goes to Daily Hustle and Potman, and that's what Larry and Tommy Yu are up against. Although they're given that handicap, they make a mistake. Daily Hustle and Potman are certainly, well, we've seen that they can certainly run a few balls up to that 7 ball and win the rack. Well, we know where the problem shot's going to be. The shot in the 5. Now, the shot you'd normally play would be the cue ball here and pot that 5 and push it with top and left English so the cue ball goes there and there. But that's way, way short. Now what do they do? Well, Daily Hustle can try thinning this down the rail. He's got to get enough power into it so that 5 ball will travel, and he's done it, and that's perfect. At least he's got the cue ball over to the left hand side of the table to give Potman the shot in the 7. So this for 2-0. And in it goes. So Larry and Tommy Yu are now up against it. They've got work to do. Well, that's a bit ugly. Larry's got a shot in the 1. Now what does Larry think about doing here? Getting the cue ball up into the middle of the table to leave the cut down the rail for the 2 ball into the same pocket as the 1. But likewise for Tommy's shouldn't have a problem with the 2, but he's going to have to hit it at a pace to get that cue ball up to the top end so Larry can have a shot in the 3. It's not easy. He's played that very well. That's a good shot. Well, it's a bit straight, but I don't think Larry will be doing an awful lot with the cue ball. He'll leave Tommy long here because it's a straightforward enough cut. And this is about judging the pace, because you know that you can pot the 4. The cue ball's going to come off the rail. It's about getting that cue ball somewhere in the centre of the table there. And that's pretty much on the spot. That is perfect. Right on the spot. Now Tommy can just draw off this 6 and drop over behind the 7. Doesn't want to leave Larry too high an angle. He wants to get this quite low so that Larry's playing the 7 like that. Well, he's trying to come across the other way. Probably the sensible move. Well, Larry's still got a high angle, and he's just worried about letting the cue ball travel too far here. He's got to play this delicate. So he's played it to just kill it and drag it, and he's played it perfect. So now it looks simple enough. Get the cue ball up and just tuck that 9 into the middle, and they're off and running. They'll have 1 on the board at least. So an immediate response from Larry and Tommy Yu, going 2-0 down. And a couple of balls have gone in. I think they're on the 1 ball as well. Where's that 9 going? Well, the 6 and the 8 have gone. Larry's got a shot in the 1. How's the table? Well, we can see that once the 3 ball goes, the 5 certainly goes, so there's not a problem there. The only problem I can see, well, that's a bad one from Larry. Way ahead of them there, and Larry's got lucky. Now, whoever gets in has the major problem of getting from the 4 to the 5. Well, that's how's that finished up? Let's have a look. Well, I think that can be pushed in. Tommy Yu's got to just hit the rail, and then the ball. He's left Larry. Surely he's not behind the knuckle. No, he's is he? No, he's okay. We can see the 2 ball goes in, but this is not easy. He's hit it to the jaw. He hung it up. Oh, well, there's another bit of good fortune for Larry. And Potman needs to be careful, because he can easily just kick in behind the 2 and scratch if he's going to come off the side rail. Can he squeeze behind it the other way? Lots of right English. Try and tuck that 4 into the pocket. The 2 ball, sorry. Where's the 9 going? Oh, it's not quite got there. Well, this is Tommy and Larry's chance to tie the match up. But it looks as if it's going to have to be a 4-9 combo. And that 9 ball is sitting in a bit of an awkward position. That is not a good combo. You've got to make that one. It's right on that jaw. Now let's have a look behind the shot and see what he's got. Well, if he looks at that, he's just got to hit that extreme edge of the 9 for that to go in. If he pushes it onto the 9, it's going to hit the jaw and just stick up. And that's why he's ended up missing it. He knew he had to hit the edge. And it was always a very awkward position to be left. So, remember, 7 and out it is for Daily Hustle and Potman. And that's that's what you call a good bad miss. Now Larry's going to try and stun off the 4 and punt the 9 in here. That's what he's going to try and do. And that didn't work out at all. Well, this is going swings and roundabouts, this rack. Potman's surely got to get Daily Hustle on the 5. Well, that's worked out very nice as long as he's not hampered by the 9, because that 7's now been nudged into a nice position for Daily Hustle just to drop the 5 in, and you let Potman sink that 7 for a 3-1 lead. So we're back to square one. Although Tommy and Larry got that third rack, they're now back to trailing by 2 again. Now there's the result came in from the one lost side, and that's Z Karaoke and Wink at Me have gone out. Houdin and Vieran have won the match by 5 racks to 3 now. What was the handicap in that one? Well, you see, Hoon and Vieran were getting 6 and out, and that is a hefty handicap. And Z Karaoke and Wink at Me were always up against it. And Bill and Frankel are currently up by, is that 6-3 against DJ Redo and Hazard. Well, you look where the 9 ball is on that top right. That's always a dangerous position. Now the 3 balls tied up. So we've got a bit of a problem to get dealt with here. Oh, look at this. Look at the 9. Well, I said there was a problem with the 9 there, and it's now 4-1. I'm going to look at that on the stream. That's always a problem when the 9 ball is near the pocket. Something crazy can happen. And I'm just looking at that, nudging onto the 9. And that, well, that is a... What the hell's happened here? Whoa, 4 balls didn't hit a rail. Anyway, we'll gloss over that break off and just look at the score. It's 4-1 to Daily Hustle and Potman, and that rack went by very quickly. That fluke on the 9 has really got Tommy, you and Larry once again the strong favourites, but there's nothing you can do when those kind of flukes happen. But you've just got to get your potting shoes on. And that's a good kick there by Tommy. Nudged the 1 onto the 4 in doing so. Well, Larry's just can only just drop the 1 in. There's nothing much else he can do. And Tommy, you should be just rolling through after this too, squeezing between the 3 and the rail. Now Larry and Tommy, you should be fully focused now because they're up against it. They know they can't afford to make any mistakes. Larry's playing with top and left. He needs to watch that 9 ball, and he's avoided that. Could easily have tucked up behind it. Still work to be done though. Tommy, as he just held up. Well, he's just gone too far. He's just the wrong side. Now, what does Larry do? Does Larry just roll through and leave him an awkward cut in the 9, or does he try and run this? Well, he's stolen an angle and he's played a great shot with left-hand English to actually get that cue ball back for the 9. That was a much better shot than it actually looked. And they've got one back. 4-2. Larry breaking off on rack number 7. But they're not getting any luck. They've got a ball in the break. The 5 ball's gone, but they're actually frozen out on the 1. So what we're looking at? We're looking at a kick here. No, the push out's been called. Now that shot there has tied up the 3 and the 7, and from that point of view by Tommy, that type of shot is a sensible push out, because that means that your opponents, even if they pot the 1, are very unlikely to run the rack. Obviously you've got the same problem if you get to the table, but it protects. It's like a sort of safety net when you play the push out, but that's the obvious thing that can happen there when you get balls clustered up. Larry's played a good one. De La Hustle tucked up behind the 7 and the 2. I think he can jump that though. Well, it's getting to that time of night. Every time it gets to about 9:30, I start body starts shutting down. We've got about another hour to go. Oh, good evening, Hoon. When did you type that? I'm falling asleep here. I'm not even looking at the chat. 9:19 was it? So we've got ball in hand. And it's going to be a 4-6 combo after this 2 and 3 ball. And it's a very good chance for Larry and Tommy U to get another one back. Now, that's what I meant to say. Now that you're listening, Hoon, just give me a second. What's happening? So you're through to the next round on the 1 loss side. Now you're going to end up getting a reasonable handicap in your next match. Just think about what you're doing when you're playing your shots, because you can make the most of that handicap if you don't play silly shots and don't make it easy for your opponents and put the pressure on them. Because the guys that are giving you the handicap are well, it's not a case of getting generous handicaps. You're getting handicaps for a reason, because you're much lower ranked players than the guys that you're probably going to be playing. But the handicap is no use to you if you don't play sensible. That's what I've been saying in the commentary. You have to play sensibly, and you have to look at the possibilities of leaving your opponents in problems rather than making it easy for them. When you're playing guys like Larry and Tommy and Bill, these guys can run the table, and if they're too strong opponents, if the balls are in the open, then you know you're going to leave them easy chances to get going. If you have a push out, shots like a push out, you need to play a good push out and maybe tie a ball up. If you start thinking more tactically, you can benefit from your handicap and put pressure on these guys, because you know they make mistakes, and you know, once they start making mistakes down at the money ball end of the rack, then it makes it a lot easier for yourselves. But you're not going to put pressure on them by just opening the table up for them. Well, your tournament rating you get from playing in tournaments. That's how you perform in actual tournaments. Your normal rating is what you have for your overall rating for all the games you play. Anyway, back to this match. We've got Potman and Daily Hustle, who are currently leading by 4 racks to 3. Potman's stuck behind a 4. And he's looking to kick at this 3. And he's managed to hit it. Now, well, it's not gone safe. So, Larry and Tommy Yu, they've got their chance that they've been waiting on to tie this match up. The question is, can they do it? No, Scottish doubles tournaments, you don't have a rating for Scottish doubles. It just goes with your combined rating for both players when you sign up. So you don't have a Scottish doubles rating. You only. This is why when you look at the HUD in the game, the rating changes every time the player changes, because it goes to whatever your rating is for 9-ball, whatever you get in matches when you've been playing in challenge rooms and that sort of stuff. So the handicap in a 9-ball Scotch doubles tournament is judged on the combined rating of both players. And it does work out fairly. It does work out fair, no matter what other guys say about the fact that, you know, 2 players were getting 7 and out and whatever. So Larry at the table needs to just push the cue ball out. He's left that a bit short again. This is just a bit uncomfortable, this 8-ball. He needed to get that cue ball a bit straighter on this 8 to make it easy for Tommy. It's just a bit fiddly. But he's played it well. So here we go. Larry and Tommy. Remember, we're 4 racks to 1 down. Now this is why you need to get yourself into, you need to get yourself a headset and get into Discord or TeamSpeak, and when you're playing in a 9-ball Scotch doubles tournament or a 10-ball Scotch doubles, that's where you can talk to your partner. And then, you know, you'll get on a lot better when you actually discuss different shots with your partner. Or you open up a private message in the game and talk to them that way, or talk to them in the chat. But it's always better to communicate in Scotch doubles. You'll notice that you know, the top rated players don't need to talk to one another, because you know they generally know how to get position in the next ball. But it's still a much better way to play the game when you're actually talking to your partner. Because the obvious thing is you do that in real life if you were playing the game. Well, did Daily Hustle play the combo there, the bank? It doesn't matter. In it goes. With a 7 and out handicap, they're back in the lead. Now up 5-4. And the pressure's heaped back onto Larry and Tommy. Potman's going to break off in rack number 10. Now, a couple of balls have gone in. Certainly the 2 ball went in. The 7 ball went in the break. Now, we're playing spot money. And if you notice, the 7 ball has been respotted. So if you break off when you pot any of your money balls off the break, including the 9 ball, they'll actually be respotted onto the table. However, the two guys who are given a handicap, if they pot any of the opponent's money balls, they will stay down on the break, apart from the 9 ball, which gets respotted. This is Daly on his wife's account. Well, there's a Discord channel up that A3++ and them uses. It's worthwhile jumping into that and talking to one another when you're playing. Much more enjoyable as well. Plus you can swear at one another when you play a stupid shot. So Daily Hustle at the table. Oh, where's this 8 ball going? Oh dear. Well, what happens now? What does Potman do? Well, the one thing you've got to do is, if you're playing the bank on the 4, you have to get the 4. And he's got that. Now, has he got his partner on the 5? Well, no, he hasn't. And the objective here is keeping the cue ball as far away from the 5 as possible, or at least getting the 5 safe. And that isn't safe, because Tommy can cut that in. And he can play this with no problem, because if his cue ball was ever going to head up to the top right hand corner, the 8 ball was going to get knocked in. Now that is extremely unlucky, and at 5-4 down, you don't want to be coming to the table stuck behind the 7 ball, having to try and kick out at the 6, because you know that even if you hit it, if you don't get it safe, you're pretty much losing the rack. I need to get my bottle of water for a drink. Just be back in a sec. Well, whenever you're playing with Larry, you don't really need to tell him what to do, because he knows what to do. He'll play the sensible shot, generally, to get on the next ball. All you do is let Larry do his thing, provided you can actually back him up. Oh, a nudge on the 8, and it's still hanging there. Well, this rack's all over. So Potman and Daily Hustle look as if they're going to be sitting on the hill, provided Larry and Tommy Yu don't get their act together. It'll be all over fairly quickly. So now Larry and Tommy at the point of no return. Potman's broke off in rack number 11. no joy. And this is a perfect table for Larry and Tommy U to show what you have to do under pressure. You're 6-4 down, you've got an open table, absolutely no reason why the two of you shouldn't run this table. And it's all about keeping control of the cue ball. There's not a ball blocking any other ball, there's not a pocket blocked. You've just got to manoeuvre the cue ball into the space. And here's the first tester for Tommy. Get that cue ball up onto the 3, and he's actually played that pretty good pace because he can drop the 3 in and just leave Tommy back on the 4 into this corner pocket. I can see where the problem's going to lie. The problem's going to lie with these two balls here. Now, when Larry pots the 5, unless he plays a good positional shot, taking a risk, it's going to be difficult for Tommy to pot that 6 and hold for the 7. So Larry's going to have to try and take a risk here and hope he doesn't block. He doesn't block himself off here, and he's overdone it. So Tommy's still got the problem of potting the 6 and trying to get this cue ball somehow around the table for this 7. This will be a good shot. And as long as he doesn't scratch, well, that nudging the 9, that has done him a huge favour. That's a little bit of luck of the draw that you need. Just that little kiss killed the pace and still held the cue ball for the 7. But the pressure is still on here. Well, that is a very good point. Of course, that's the worry that Larry probably has most of the time when he plays with partners, is, you know, understanding their ability and trying to keep it simple for them. And that's the biggest problem he probably has. And that is true. You've got to know your partner's limitations. If you're the better player, the stronger player in the team, then it's up to you to play the shots that make life easier for your partner, and don't keep putting them in awkward situations. So anyway, we've got a score here. Daily Hustle and Popman leading 6-5. So Tommy and Larry are still in it. Come up with a dry break again, but here's the bank on the 1. Looks a reasonable enough bank. Should be on the 2 ball, and a good angle on the 2 to get that cue ball possibly between the 8 and the 6, and just onto the left hand rail for the 3 ball. Now don't bounce too hard. Oh dear. Well, out with the jump stick immediately. Now this is where we have the distance problem. The distance between the cue ball and the 3 is such that you're not going to have an awful lot of pace in the cue ball. So it's going to have to be the 4 in off the 9. It's going to be a bit of a squeeze though. I mean, there's enough gap there, but if this hits the 9 thick, it ain't going to go in. It's going to have to hit it into the rail and off the 9. Got to do that to get this to go into the pocket. That's too thick, it's not going to go. So Tommy and Larry have a chance to save their necks once again, trailing 5-6. He's nudged the 9 out, and immediately Larry has got a pressure shot. This is not a simple 5 ball. And Larry's taking his time, and he's played it well. Got his partner on the 6, and just a little draw off this 6 would do nicely here. Don't try and do anything elaborate. And Larry should just draw off this 7 as well. He doesn't need to let the cue ball run, just come back 2 or 3 inches. And that's exactly what he wanted to do. Now what's the angle like there? Well, now this is where Tommy needs to be careful. Bit of inside English, he can come off the bottom rail and check up for the 9, and he's done that. So those last 3 or 4 shots there were all played exactly the way you would have to play them to get the job done, and they've done that. And you can't ask any more. 6 all. This is our 3rd match that's gone to a final rack. We're getting our money's worth tonight. So it's Tommy to break off. Larry's hoping he can get something in the break and leave him a shot, and he's... well, what the hell happened here? Oh, the 4 ball's gone. But Larry's not really got a great shot in the 1. He's got an awkward cut into the middle. Oh, it's a good attempt by Larry. I think he's left it on though. Now I'm just going to have a quick look at the bracket and see what's happening here. Well, I missed that result. Bill and Frankel have won by, what was that, 7-6, final rack decider, and they managed to scrape through. So there's I think pretty much about every match has gone to a last rack in the winner's side. Anyway, back to this final rack. We've got Potman and Daily Hustle on the 3 ball. A reminder, they've got 7 and out. And I don't know what Daily Hustle tried there. And how's his luck? And I think he'll be quite happy with that. But Tommy should have them in trouble here, but he's under hit that and he's left the cut. And that was not a good safety. And it's given it straight back to Potman and Daily Hustle. And can Potman pot the 3 and hold the cue ball for this 5? Needs to come back across the table. Probably twice. Well, he's got the split. And that's at least given his partner a shot on the 5. And the 6 goes past the 9, no problem. So just the 5. Oh, I thought he'd overhit that too much there. So Potman, this is another one of these awkward ones where the 9 ball suddenly doubles in size when you're trying to pot the 6 ball past it. It's just there, you know it's there. And he's played it clean as a whistle. So Potman and Daily Hustle are going to take out Larry and Tommy, send them to the 1 loss side, and they win the match by 7 racks to 6. So, well, let's see once this bracket updates. We've got Lady Hawk and VKL are currently playing DJ Redo and Hazard. Lady Hawk and VKL are getting the 5 ball, and they're currently 2-0 down. And Larry and Tommy are going to be hard pushed because Hoon and Vieran are getting 5 and out, and it's a race to 5, so big pressure on Larry and Tommy to stay in the tournament. And meanwhile, we've got Mr. Bill and Frankel playing Popman and Daily Hustle, and Popman and Daily Hustle are getting 7 and out. Now, it'd be good to watch this match because when we saw the first match with Mr. Bill and Frankel, they comfortably won that 7-3, and well, let's see what they do. Now, Popman and Daily Hustle are certainly the stronger, you know, they're stronger opponents in their first round match and their second round match. So let's see how Mr. Bill and Franco got on in that match. Well, there's 3 players currently in the room at the moment. Popman's probably taking a little break until he gets the warning message to join the room. Well, that match with Larry and Tommy, a 5 and out handicap and a race to 5. They just cannot afford any mistakes. None at all. And another quick reminder that in tournaments you have 5 minutes once your room appears to get into the room. While you're waiting in the lobby, you will get an audible warning and a message pop up on the screen in the chat that will remind you that your room is up. So here we go. We're lagging off. And that looks a bit of a heavy lag on the right hand side. That's going to track back up the table. Almost. So not the best lags you're ever going to see. But Mr. Bill won it. So Popman, Daily Hustle have a 7 and out handicap that they can make very good use of. And Bill has potted the 8 ball in the break. I just wonder why Franco's playing with the house cue. Maybe he likes the idea of the fact that it hits the ball with less power. Maybe he feels he can get better control with it, I don't know. So immediately Bill and Frankel have a chance to run out. Frankel's found a gap between the 9 and the 5. But, and I say but, it has gone fairly straight. There's a little angle and Bill's got to control the pace. And he's overdone it slightly. Well, the reason for that is because when your opponents break off, if you're getting 7 and out and they pot the 7 and 8 ball in the break, they will stay down because they're your money balls. If you potted the 7 and 8 ball in the break, they're going to come back up because it's spot money. If they potted the 9 ball on the break, the 9 ball would come back up, but they would still remain. It would still be their visit at the table. But any money balls that your opponents can pot off the break that are your money balls, they will stay in the hole. They stay down. So that's why the 7 ball stayed down. Oh, there's a bad one. This is where you've got to keep your concentration. You've got to use your shot clock as well. Take your time and just pace yourself when you're getting these chances. A bad miss in the 6 is making it easy for Frankel and Bill. And that's a first rack that got away now. A couple of balls have gone in on the break. And the 1 ball and the 5 ball have gone. Bill's on the 2. There shouldn't be a problem with the 2, the 3 and the 4. And the 6. But the problem is the 7. And the 7 doesn't go. So that is Potman and Daily Hustle's lifeline right there. Those 2 balls are the one chance that Daily Hustle and Potman will have, provided that Bill and Frankel can't get the split. And let's have a look. Well, that's 2 straight. It'll be a good shot to actually manoeuvre this cue ball in such a way to try and get anywhere near up the table for that 7. You might find that if Frankel can get up the table, Bill will just bury them behind the 9 ball. And that's what happens when you don't have a playing cue. You just cannot generate the power to manoeuvre the cue ball with a house cue. So Bill will be looking to try and... Well, is he trying to play the bank? Yes, he is. He's got the double bank. I didn't think that would squeeze past the 9, but he got it. But still a problem for Frankel. This shot here is not easy because he doesn't have the power. And he needs to watch the in-off in the right middle. And he's played it well. So it's now going to be 2-0. We've lost the 1 ball. Frankel's not really got a shot in the 2. What's he thinking here? Just trying to tuck the cue ball in behind the 5. And he hasn't quite got there. Now this shot in the 2, I would not be playing the pot. I'd be just trying to keep it safe. And he's done well. Got the cover. There is a wee edge showing, but it's still a reasonably good safety. Well, here's a chance. Thin one in the 2. Now, can he avoid hitting the 4 though to try and get the cue ball out for the 3? Well, I don't know what he tried there. I presume he tried the cut. Now it's already looking ominous. Open table, all the balls are sitting there. You can't see Bill and Franco missing. But with the 7 and out handicap, these matches can turn very quickly, and here's a perfect example. The mistake has been made, and it's up to Potman and Daily Hustle to make the most of it. And like I said earlier, you take your time, you use your shot clock, you think about what you're doing, and you don't do anything silly with the cue ball, because these balls are all just waiting to be knocked into the hole. And with this shot here on the 5, you drop the 5 in, you don't do anything other than run the cue ball off the left rail and out. The angle is there on the 6 for Potman to get back up for the 7. Oh dear. And that's exactly what I was saying. You don't force the 5 in, you just roll it in and leave the angle on the 6. And that was played all wrong. I hope you're listening to this in the stream, Daily Hustle. But this is the point I'm making. You've got to think about what you're doing and look at the simple, sensible shot to play for your partner. And there was too much pace in that cue ball. And this is what I'm saying about making it easy for Bill and Franco. Well, there's a mistake again. It's not perfect. But it's well played by Bill. And Franco just do a little draw off the 8. Just a little soft draw. And it's now gone to 4-0, and it really should be 3-1. No, that shot there, you just needed to roll it in. The angle that you had on that 5 ball, the cue ball was going to do the rest of the thing for you. You played that with top, that's why the cue ball ran through off the rail and went over to the right behind the 6. Oh, was it 3-0? I thought it was 4-0. I'm getting ahead of myself. My excuse is half of my brain isn't working because it's asleep. Well, this is looking very likely to be a 4-9. A 4-9 combo. Well, it's more likely to be a jump shot 4-9 combo here. And Bill will take his time picking his line, getting the cue angle, and then playing the shot, and there you go. Well, it's 4-0 now. Now that, well, if you said you played with bottom, what you didn't do is you didn't go through with the cue stick quick enough to get the reaction that you wanted off that cue ball. That's where you think it's a shot that you look as if you're trying to hit it with more pace, but all you're actually doing is killing the cue ball and still potting the object ball. But you didn't get into the cue ball enough, and that's why it ran away from you. Anyway, we've got Potman and Daily Hustle. They're 4-0 down. It all looks bleak for them, but as I say, if you then get your chance and if you play the sensible shots, you can use the handicap. Now if you look here, we can see where the danger ball is. There's the 7 ball hanging near the corner pocket. Now what Frankel and Bill have to do is they have to make sure that there is no ball that's adjacent to that 7 ball that's going to knock it in. And there's the danger ball there for that case, because the 2 ball is the 2-7 combo shot. And it looks as if Bill and Frankel are going to have to deal with that. Well, that was not the greatest way to play that shot by Bill, because he's now got his partner on nothing. And Frankel is lining up the bank, and it has to go in. And this could be a chance for Potman and Daily Hustle. Oh, he's fluked it. Oh dear, well. Well, Bill's taking out the 7, so that's the danger ball gone. The 4 ball is still the problem. It's tied up next to the 8. And Frankel's looking to just draw back a couple inches to leave Bill with the 4 into the middle. Well, he's went through with inside English to check it back, and that is pretty nigh perfect, I think. Slightly the wrong side of the 5, but not a problem. You can still bring the cue ball into the middle of the table for the 6. Well, he's actually looking as if he's going to go off the side rail, the end rail, and around the corner. No, he's drawn it. He's almost got there. Well, this is where Potman and Daily Hustle have now got a crisis on their hands. They're sitting with a bagel. They're looking to get rid of it. They've had a chance. They've had more than one. Well, what sort of problems we got here? Potman has a shot in the 1. It should be easy enough to just run into the 5. Just run into that 5 and use it to hold for the 2. When the 3 does go, but this is not easy because the cue ball's close to the rail. You're having to dig right down into the cue ball. And Potman still has a thin cut in the 3. I think he's going to hit the 9 here. This cue ball might go to the right. So you've got to watch the pace. No, he's missed the 9. Now, how's his luck? A little kiss off the 4. Now, you slow down. Well, there's the result came in. Lady Hawk and VKL, they've beaten DJ Redo and Hazard by 5 racks to 3. Now, that's not where you want to be. Poor Potman has been strung out to dry here on the 7 ball. The old Chinese snooker, and that's just doubled the difficulty in this 5 ball. And not only that, the chances of getting on the 6 are fairly slim. And is the 5 ball going to go in? Yes, it has. Well, that's a bit of the break they might need here, but it's all very well the 5 ball going in. It doesn't matter the 5 balls going in. You've still got the 6 and the 7 to pot. That's the most important thing. The fluke isn't the important thing. It's playing the shot to get the next ball. And, well, once again, Potman has been left high and dry. This isn't a good bank because the 7 ball's on the rail virtually. And that double kiss there. Oh, where's the 7 going now? No, it's hanging over. Well, they got that bit of luck, but couldn't get that position, the vital position needed on the 7. And Franco playing with the house cue, trying to get back up the table for the 9 off a fairly straight 8 ball. And he's judged it well. That is pretty good. And it's this 9 ball for 6-0. Well, the 8 ball's gone down on the break, so that will stay down. The 7 ball is still there. Franco's got no shot in the 1, so he's looking to feather it and just squeeze behind the 2, and that's a good shot. Now, Daily Hustle can see a thin edge in that 1 ball, but if he had actually looked at maybe trying to kick that 1, he could have comboed the 1-2 into the top right hand corner. A difficult shot, but it was lined up to the pocket. But he's using the 3 as a blocker, and Bill trying to squeeze that 1 past the 3. Well, Potman and Daily Hustle, we say it again, but here's their chance. This visit to stay in the match and to get rid of the whitewash. Where's the cue ball going? Well, this is not a good position to try and get back up for the 4. Potman's going to have to absolutely clatter this 3 ball. And he's actually played it too good. That was a great shot, but he's actually played it far too good. Well, the 4 is cuttable. And Franco, I don't think at that angle as it possibly can still hold for the 5 without running in behind the 5 and 7. Difficult to say. I think he's got to let the cue ball run. Well, that's not bad. It's not perfect, but Bill can get this 5 down the rail. The cue ball's going to be on the 7. Well, he's overdone it. So surely this time Potman can get that cue ball back for the 7. He doesn't want to draw it into the pocket. He just needs to get it into this bottom half of the table somewhere on the left hand side. And that will do. Cue ball's on the rail, but it's just a roll in the 7. Well, that's where the handicap works. Hoon and Vieran have beaten Larry and Tommy Yu by 5 racks to 2. So that is the second favourites for tonight's tournament are gone. And that's opened up the draw. So, Daily Hustle and Potman, they've got rid of the embarrassing bagel. They've got 1 on the board, and the only way is up. And they're going to have to immediately dig themselves out a hole here because Frankel has tucked Daily Hustle right in behind the 2. Well, that'll do it. That's pretty safe. I don't like your next shot though, because Bill is just going to kill this cue ball and punt that one ball up the table, I would imagine, and tuck the cue ball in behind the 3 and the 2. What's Potman trying here? Does he think he can jump over that? No way he can jump over that in a month of Sundays. That's absolutely pinpoint perfect position on that 2 ball. You couldn't actually place it any better with ball in hand. Now where's the cue ball going here? Is it finding the gap? Oh, it's just a bit too far. Let's have a look from this end. Yeah. Well, out of the jump stick, and the angle looks reasonable enough. Can he get the cue ball out far enough past the 8 ball for Bill to pot the 4? It looks a bit straight. Well, Bill can see it, and he can see it to pot it. But the cue ball... Well, if he plays it a certain weight, the cue ball can go there and just leave the cut in the 5 that way. He's trying to baby it in. And that was really, really difficult. But they've almost got second prize here. I think there's enough of that 4 shown to be tucked in. Yeah. But we're dead straight in the 5 again, are we? No, there's an angle. And a bit of right hand spin does the trick. So now what does Daily Hustle do here? The shot would be to go round to the right. Well, he stunned it across, and that's well played. So is the comeback on here if Potman can get the 7 in? And it's now 6-2. And something's gone in the break. What went in there? Oh, the 7 balls gone. So in this case, with it being Potman and Daily Hustles or one of their money balls, it gets respotted. They still remain at the table though, with a shot on the 1. A possible 2-8 combo here, if you can get a bit of top into the cue ball and get it up into the middle of the table. Ideally, you'd want the cue ball going that way and play that 2-8. Now the angle's on the 1 ball here to get the cue ball up the table. I wonder if Potman's thinking about that. Well, he's nudging. He didn't play. He needed to play that with a bit of top right English to make the angle. The cue ball went straight up, whereas the English would have went that way and would have left the 2-8. But as it is, Potman's now got a tough one on the 3 to keep this run going. And one thing to add, if they make a mistake here and they leave the ball on, these balls are sitting perfect for Bill and Franco to run out. In goes the 3. Now what does Daily Hustle do? Because this is a nasty angle. Nasty from the point of view that if you're potting into the top right, that cue ball's going dangerously close to the middle pocket. So he's looking at the combo, is he? Yes, he has. He's got it. Where's the cue ball? Everything's okay. It's 6-3. Well, just a quick reminder, folks. Time is my enemy when I'm doing streaming and working days. I'm back up at 4 AM in the morning again. So we have got about 15 minutes to go. Hopefully we might see the end of this match. But I'm going to call it a night anyway at the end of this match. A quick thank you for your contributions and for those that are watching. Well, it looks good here for Bill and Frankel this time. Oh dear, well, the mistakes are coming, and Daily Hustle and Potman, take your time. That's the only advice you can say to the two of them. Take your time, think about what you're doing, make it simple. Now in this case, Potman needs to roll through to the rail. And the reason I say that is that if he rolls the 3 in, he has to get the cue ball to sort of there so that you can pot the 5 and the cue ball goes that way, and it makes it simple for the 6 ball. Now he's finished the other side and he's finished pretty straight. Now with this shot you have to hit it hard for the cue ball to come out. There's a slight angle there, but you have to hit it firm, and he's under hit it. And Potman's still got a cut in the 6, but the cue ball's running. And Potman needs to play this with a bit of right English if he can, just so the cue ball will go that way and won't go so much this way. Well, it's going that way. Watch the middle pocket. Oh, well, the 7 ball to trail just by 2. Oh, he's cut it away. And the pressure's getting to them. Use your shot clock. And this isn't over yet. Frankel playing with the house cue. Can he get that cue ball up for the 9? He's went all out for the cut. Well, this 8 ball has to be a bank. It is a good bank. It's a good double bank for Potman. I don't know why he's looking at a cut. He's got to play the bank. That does not cut. That cuts. If that cuts, it'll be a bloody great shot. It's far too thin. It's a much easier bank than a cut. Oh, where's the cue ball going? Well, that's a brilliant shot. A brave shot. I don't think I would have been brave enough to play it. But all that matters is it's gone in. He's not scratched, and it's 6-4. I swear to God, I would never have played the cut. I would have went for the bank because the bank looked far too easy. And it also looked very good for a double bank. Well, I think that's... when you look at the pace that Frankel played that 8 ball, the cue ball was going nowhere near the 9. Had he actually potted it. And it wasn't a great choice of shot there by Frankel. But maybe that's all that he felt was on. So Bill has a nice little angle to stun in the 3 and pop in between the 6 and the 8. Well, he's nudged the 6 and that's done them. So here we go again. If he had missed that 6, the cue ball would have still had the pace just to run across. And as it is, Franco's hooked behind the 9 almost. Oh, well, that was a good one. Just managed to see enough at the edge of that 4. And he's pretty much got away with that. What's Potman doing? He's not trying the 4-8 combo, is he? That's a big distance to try that, but if you line up the pot on the 4, well, that's a ball in hand. That's never going to get to the rail, is it? Oh, that's a brilliant shot. Take that back. That was a tester, that one. But he got it dead weight to the rail. I'm getting excited here. There's a chance that we have a match on. Now Franco, is he going to try and squeeze behind the 8? And he hasn't got there. And here's their chance. And Franco sums it up. Well, that kiss off the 9 has done had the desired effect. It's held for the 5. It's a thin cut in the 5, but how do you get on the 6? There is a very small window there, but that 6, well, that's never going to go that way. The 6 is in a very awkward position there, unless you're in the bottom half of the table where we're looking from. But there's another little break for Potman and Daily Hustle. No shot for Bill. He's looking to thin edge and maybe try and squeeze behind. Well, he's went for the cut. He's went all out for it. How's their luck? Well, the cut is there for Franco. They're going all out for the win. But he's got to play this to get over to the right side of the 7, I think. I mean, I can't see any other way. The 7's not going in past the 8. It's entirely the wrong angle in the 6 to be able to hold for the 7. So he just looked to play safe. And that's a much better one. Now, if Potman plays the jump, he's probably much better trying to hit the 6 there, so that the 6 goes there and comes there, and the cue ball goes up that way somewhere, and try and get cover. You've just got to play it and hit and hope. Let's see what he does. And that's actually worked out pretty damn good. That's just type. Well, has it? No, it hasn't. I thought that was a good one. There's enough showing. Oh. Oh. Well, they're getting the breaks now. At the right time. The 7's nudged out. But it's on the rail. It's on the rail bar a couple of millimetres. Oh, if that cue ball keeps running towards the rail, it's a toughie. Well, here's a tester for Bill. What does he do? Does he go for the cut? Does he go for the bank? He's gone for the cut. And this isn't a gimme. very easy to send us to the left jaw, but he's played it in, and eventually Frankel and Bill scrape through in the end. Even though the 1-7-4, it was going either way at some point, but they move on, and Daily Hustle and Popman are now over to the one lost side. Let's have one last look at the bracket and see how things shape up. Well, Mr. Bill and Frankel, they're in the hot seat, they're in the final, and meanwhile we've got Popman and Daily Hustle in the one lost side final, waiting on the outcome of the Hoon Vieran match with Lady Hawk and VKL, and Hoon and Vieran are currently up 2 racks to 1. So the winner of that match will play Popman and Daily Hustle for a place in tonight's final. And with that, folks, thanks for watching. Sorry I can't go all the way, but there has to be a cut-off point for me. I have to be strict for myself so that I can get at least 4 hours sleep. I'll thank you for watching, and I will bid you a good night, and we'll see you again sometime, no doubt.